One Punch Man 129 Turning the Tide was a really good chapter. I like it a lot. It's something I like more as I've had time to accept it because, well, I'll talk about it as we go into it. But basically, good stuff. Twists and turns and not what I was expecting, but I'm happy with what we got. Chapter starts off with, of course, the fight. Well, no, not of course. Like, it carries on with Darkshine and Garo. Like, the thing is, with what they're doing at the moment, you just don't know where the story's going. But I do really appreciate what they did here with these two. And mostly in the sense of how the fight just carried on, like, pretty similar. Like, the standoff at the beginning is great. But then, obviously, as Darkshine threw his first punch, it becomes pretty clear to us in the first couple pages that he's outclassed, and they do a great job of showing why. Well, one thing as well that I really like is Goro uses this technique on Darkshine. First of all, he deflects him with his thumb, right? Okay, that's some pretty extreme stuff. But also, he uses this technique on him too, which I didn't realize. I was like, whoa, I've never seen him use that, but I was wrong. He's actually used that a few times. It's almost actually like Goro's finisher move. Like, it's like if he had a signature technique or a strongest technique, it'd probably be this one, to be honest. I know we had to sit where he threw the punch and obviously Overgrown Rover went down. Well, oh, he didn't go down, he shook it off. And he was like, that's my strongest hit. But this is like more when he wants to deal some real damage or he needs to use some power behind his attack. This is what he uses. This is the move he used to finish off Metal Bat. It's the move he also used when he fought against the group of heroes and he wanted to launch the Kodama or the Kodama, the giant ball and the giant ball toy that Smile Man was using. That's the same move he used to launch VAT. It's what he uses to deal some real damage or to like put some power behind his attack. And as we can see here, it does some damage as it's such... he not only just damages Darkshine, like, well, obviously that's the main thing for him, but the fact is, like, the repercussions of this hit grinded stone, big walls of stone, into dust. That's the level of strength Goro's at now, when the shockwaves of his attack are achieving that level of power. There's probably some maths to do there. I'm not going to do the maths, but it's power. But of course, the main thing that we get from this is, of course, the invincible Darkshine finally taking a hit and he's down. And because of this as well, we then see like he's like, and it's not even like, from what we've seen, like, he's not actually hurt physically in terms of, like, you know, he's not, like, bruised or cut up, but his nose is bleeding, he's coughing up blood. So at the very least, even if it hasn't done damage to him, like, externally, he's taken internal damage. And as we learn, that internal damage is not just physical, it's also mental, because as Darkshine carries on, we then see about how Goro comes back and he's like, what's the matter, Darkshine? What happened to your hero play? Making fun of my monster play. I'm still kicking as he's quite high above him, and like obviously I think like just to nail it on the head, of course, like just the where they are individually just shows that yes, Goro is in a different league to him. And I feel like this is best explained, of course, throughout not only in comparison to, like, to compare Darkshine to other heroes is actually a great way to do it through his backstory, because as we actually learn about Darkshine's backstory. He used to be this weak, wimpy little kid who was never good at anything and like was bad until he wanted to change that. And I think honestly, like, the core of Darkshine's like origins is like, you know, a great motto, which is he wasn't happy with himself, so he wanted to change himself. And it's amazing because from it, you know, obviously he started off weak, he had like the 3 kilograms and he kept bumping up to the point where numbers didn't even matter to him. He couldn't quantify his strength with numbers. And because of this, like, you know, this weak, quiet kid got an immense confidence and pride in himself. And he went in various sports competitions and he went and through various battles. Eventually he went to get a challenge, he went to the Hero Association, which is good that he felt confident enough to better himself. And the fact is with Darkshine 2, the reason I say I wanted to focus on this is because from what we learned Darkshine's past and why he's acted the way he has in this chapter is because fundamentally he is different from almost every one of the S-Class heroes. Because the S-Class heroes in particular, so like whether you look at characters like Atomic Samurai or Bang or Flashy Flash, who were born and raised to fight, like fighting is pretty much all they know, or someone like Zombie Man who was bred to fight at this point, you know, people like a lot of the S-Class heroes, and I'm saying this like, but what about Child Emperor, what about Pig God? And we need to learn more about those guys as well, but like obviously Child Emperor as a hero's had to step up because the adults don't do it and don't know enough about Pig God, but generally they are they are fighters because they choose to be and it's all they know, or it's literally what they were meant to do. Whether you look at also people like Genos and Drive Knight, they're built for combat. In comparison, Darkshine, he's not built for combat in the sense of like his motivational, like his origin isn't from combat. He is from just constant training to the point where he is this physical beast. And this has affected him, of course, because what he wanted, as we learn, is like, you know, we thought he wanted a challenge, but it wasn't that he wanted a challenge. He didn't want a fight that he like would challenge him. He wanted something that would challenge him. Yes, I'm saying this wrong, but at the same time, he wanted something that would actually, that he would be certain he would win in. Like, he didn't want like he wanted a gratifying victory. He wanted a challenge, but not so much of a challenge that he was like, man, I might lose this, you know? Something that's going to push him, but not push him too far. And as it goes on, of course, like, you know, it's just very clear the difference between these two. And as they say, and like, obviously the art's gorgeous throughout this chapter, but they go on to say, like, you know, Darkshine is starting to develop a fear of Garo, which makes sense. But I also, going up against like this insurmountable foe, has faith forming, mostly because, well, one thing I do like to think about, especially in these chapters, is like, one thing I'm always looking forward to, or hints towards, and even if I have to basically make it up, which is what I think I've done here, is the final fight, as in like it's one thing people probably think about every now and again, but the final fight of One Punch Man, when Saitama actually meets his opponent, which hopefully he will do. I'd love it if he did. But what I want to say about this more than anything is what it gives to Darkshine and Garo's fight is Darkshine reacted in a way where he was very similar in the same to Saitama, as in, like, you know, he was too strong, like no foe was really a challenge for him. But when he met his challenge, Darkshine cowered away from it. He got scared of Garo, and now it'll be interesting to see the repercussions of this as we go on, of course. But I like to think this is at the very least going to show us, like, you know, because you can't really have characters do the same thing, or if they did, it'd be interesting. Obviously, Darkshine did something in the future, but I like to think whenever this final fight happens, Saitama is not going to cower away from it. Even like if he gets backed into a corner by whatever this final foe is, Saitama is going to be the one to get back up, and it's going to show what he's shown throughout the series, is that this man's a hero. He's going to get back up and show what he can do, just so it's different from Darkshine. But obviously, as the beatdown continues, Darkshine tries to fight back, but then the fear takes over to the point where he goes, eek. Am I missing out on anything before I carry on talking about this stuff? Obviously, you have the brilliant art that is when, obviously, the more fear Garo imposed on him, to the point where, like, you know, that fear has grown to be gigantic, and it's just like this massive, like, the draw. I mean, like, I feel weird talking about the art all the time, but more than anything, it's mostly because it just shows the quality of the art just keeps going. Like, the art doesn't drop. Like, he always does something a bit different, or something you don't expect, which just blows out of the water, and that's what's so good about Murata as an artist. Then what's great about One as an author is, unless we've got anything else to say about this bit first. So as Garo is about to get very savage on him, Darkshine does say eek, because he actually is scared now. He's been broken by fear, which someone else pointed out. It wasn't me, I didn't realise it on my own, but that all the S-Class heroes now have at some point felt fear. And like, obviously it was pointed out by Murata and One that they've all kind of like had to face fear and like face the reality of, hey, powerful opponents are out there still, but like even this, you know, with the exception of Genos, who has probably overcome fear, I think at this point, by constantly being in scenarios with Saitama. King, maybe... No, King was in constant fear, but in a way that makes him not... It's like, you know... if you're surrounded by water, are you really wet? And then I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, Flashy will get his fear at some point. We'll see. It depends whether Flashy ends up fighting, which I think I know. Well, I'll talk about this, because basically at this point now, we're at the point with Garo's growth where, like, there's not many opponents he can fight left. In terms of variety as well, because Garo's come against many opponents now. He's come against opponents who are very skilled, like Bang and Bomb. He's come against opponents who just keep coming at him, like Darkshine and Metal Bat. He's come against opponents who are all about power, like Rover and Orochi. Groups like the S-Class heroes, not the S-Class, the A-Class heroes, led by Def Gatlin. And I was trying to think who else could be an opponent for him at this point. And the only person I can think of left before Saitama at this has to be Flashy for me, because Flashy makes sense because Goro's never really come against someone who's that fast, like overwhelming speed. He's come against a lot of different opponents, but overwhelming speed he has not fought against. And also Flashy is pretty much one of the few S-class heroes who is still in pretty damn good condition. Flashy had no issue fighting against these guys. We know Flashy's strength is up there because he took on 2 dragons at the same time. So he's the last opponent I can think of for Goro before he faces Saitama. Apart which also keeps him safe because Saitama's obviously with him. And Flashy's also kept in good condition now, I think, because Saitama's basically protecting Flashy at this point too. Flashy's not a hero who needs protecting, but if things get too much, he's got the one-hit wonder with him. Any case, Goro goes for the attack. Going back to it, Goro goes for the attack on Darkshine, and then he has this moment of relapse where he realizes, what he's about to do was a bullying thing to do. He has like flashbacks of him having happened to him, like he saw of Tario, and Goro's confusing because I get like they've changed him because they want you to go, oh, I hate that Goro, and then obviously his relationship with Tario like changes him and like, wow, it's not, I like him now. I like Goro's one of my favourite characters, but I just like how he drew the line at bullying, yet smash cut to his first ever appearance where he tore off Blue Fire's arm and mangled up the arm of Heavy Tank Loincloth. Like, no issue, and then he's like, okay guys, that's bad, but come on guys, bullying's bullying, say no, stand up for yourself. As it goes on, like, Goro stops and then feels the impact of what's happened. And like, he starts to crumble, because as we see, like, the base is being moved, he crumbles down mostly because his monster's starting to come out, like, we're getting there, it's not too much longer. I think that's why I'm saying he's got to have, like, one more fight, or if not, this will be the last time we see Goro before his monsterized form, and obviously I've got ideas about like what's going to happen. Like, for me, like, it makes sense. Say like I'll go into what I'm thinking about Darkshine 2 in a sec, but with Flashy and Saitama, with Flashy, so let's say in my head, like, Goro and Flashy start fighting, boom, boom, boom. Flashy overwhelms him at first, but because it's Goro, he kind of turns the tide on it, and he's about to monsterize when Tario shows up, and Tario's like, you're not a monster, you're a good guy, basically kind of talks him down and like calms him down from the moment he before he's about to monsterize. Tario dies, like, it looks like he's dead. I don't think he would, because, it's One Punch Man. Like, they don't really kill off characters, let alone kids, and then that's what Goro snaps, and that's when he monsterizes. But they're doing a couple good steps. Like, obviously, I do like the fact that they're basically keeping Goro down, but it also makes sense, not only because of monsterized form, but we can't ignore the fact that, Darkshine shattered Goro's ribs. That's still there. And speaking of Darkshine, just before, let's get into the end of this fight, because, like, Darkshine did try and show, help for him, despite being scared of him. Like, he's still like, hey man, like, get out of here, you're not going to make it, make sure you're okay. And then, as Tatsumaki's barrier comes up, because apparently she's, like, saving all the people there, which is very interesting, because it's going to be who she saves, because I would imagine, like, she's going to save all the S-class heroes, and maybe, like, and she'll know that there's an extra life form by King, because he rescued Tario, and that's where Tario's going to be safe too, but at the same time, she doesn't know about Saitama's down there, so Saitama and Flashy might be split up pretty quickly next chapter. You guys will know at this point, I don't, but this could break up, the Flashy trio, and she'll just assume that everyone else is a monster there, so at least get the S-class heroes out of there. And as the fight, any case, Goro crumbles down, which I love, because, like, he's now the sleeping monster, like, buried deep in the heart of the Monster Association is Goro, and whoever wakes him up, they're gonna have some problems, and this could be, like, a really good way to finish a fight too, is, like, I'm talking about wildcards a lot, but I just like the idea of someone's fight getting interrupted halfway, and just thrown to the wind because Goro shows up and he beats the hell out of both of them. Any case, Darkshine is now left on his own, and this is what I love, is he's left on his own, like, and like the drawing, of course, is just obviously him, like, eek. Like, he couldn't save Garo, he couldn't do his job as a hero. Either way, from defeating the villain to protecting people, like, he tried to help out Garo, but he couldn't do either way. He couldn't beat him, and he couldn't help him out, and he's left alone with his thoughts now. He can't, like, distract himself anymore. He can't be like, oh, I'll go face these guys and give support there. He's now at a point where he has to accept what he's done. That he got scared and timid, and then he's just left alone in that ball to curl up as, like, the darkness surrounds him. It's so good. He has to face what he's done, which is going to be super interesting for Darkshine at the moment, because I guess with Darkshine as a character, what I'd say more than anything is it's great to see him develop like this, because it stops him from being like, we don't need... Well, when we first saw Darkshine, they did such a great job of hyping you up, and like, because he did a lot of stuff, like, he was always in the background, but he always got stuff done, and from the way he spoke about himself and the things he did, you know, you believed what he said. He was like, you know, he was like, hey, I'm up there, like, you know, it's King, it's Tatsumaki, and then it's me, I'm Darkshine. And then, from what we saw of him, you fully believed it, you know, to the point where, like, obviously, you know, swatting away demons, and, like, you know, buildings crumbled on him, and he felt nothing, running through people like no issue. And obviously, so when he comes up to Garo, you believe it. You think this fight's going to be amazing. It thoroughly fooled me. I really thought this was going to be like the big smackdown that was going to be like Garo's last fight before Monsterification, you know? I was like, this is it. This is his last test. It's Darkshine. And then they throw this here where he's like, actually, he's, apart from obviously his strength, he's a genuinely regular person where he gets scared, of course. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what this does for him in the future. Because with a character like Darkshine, he's still got all the strength that he has. It doesn't change the fact of what he can do, but his mental attitude might really just affect him. He might be scared of monsters in the future. It's going to be about him getting his confidence back and, you know, not just being someone who's in it for, like, competitions, like, oh, I'm here to test myself, to realise really what it is to be a hero. And maybe that can be something to protect, like, and maybe that's like to protect someone else or to fend off someone else, or like there's more to being a hero than just testing yourself. Like with Saitama, for example, like, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I want to be someone who can finish off anyone in one punch, or it was like, oh, I want to be a hero. It was both of those things at the same time. You have to hold those in equal value, because Saitama wanted to be a hero who could finish off anyone in one punch, and they linked together, they form one solid ideal for him. Whereas Darkshine just wanted to be strong. Heroism wasn't his goal, so he's got the strength, but he needs to get up there for heroism too. And I think I think it's going to be some very good stuff in the future. Obviously, you're basically looking at, like, the Incredible Hulk, who isn't, like, you know, don't make me upset. You wouldn't like me when I'm upset because I curl into a ball and cry. That is what Darkshine could be. Or what I think is even better currently is to call him a cowardly lion, because he's got all this strength, and, like, you know, he's a king of the jungle, but he's still a coward, you know. He's got to, like, work his confidence back up, and there's many ways that could happen. Like, maybe he could interact with Saitama, who's very good at that, who's good at motivating people. Maybe it'd be even someone like Metal Bat, because maybe something he has to learn about being a hero is to protect something, you know? Like Metal Bat, like, he's a hero, but you can guess most of that is probably because of his little sister, Zenko. He wants to help her out, he wants to make sure she's safe, so maybe it'd be like an interaction with Metal Bat, who's been on the sidelines for a while, and we'll give him something to do as well. Obviously, because he got wrecked by Garo, but, at the same time, like, and I don't want it to take away from the message of Darkshine that he's given off, like, he wasn't happy with himself, so he changed himself, and because I think that's an amazing message to give to people. I think more people need to learn that, like, changing for yourself is just as important as changing for other people, you know. You've got to make sure that it's because you want to do it, not because someone else wants you to. And I think this could lead to some very interesting stuff. I'm going to be honest. It does sting a bit, the fact that this fight wasn't what it was, because in my head I was like, this is gonna be an insane fight, you know. It's my fault for building up the way I did. I was like, this is gonna be the fight, this is gonna be the one, and it wasn't. But I think ultimately I'm gonna look back on this chapter in the future and go like, man, this is such a good chapter, like, this is such a good fight, because I can, even after, like, waiting the couple of weeks since like, the sting is still there a little, it's still there a little, but I still fully appreciate what, like, this chapter does for Darkshine as a character, because we don't need another musclehead who, we don't need necessarily a musclehead, we don't need someone who's, like, the badass who can, like, you know, oh, he's here, you know, things are gonna get sorted. because we've got that with Saitama, and you can still be that kind of character without actually having more than just being like, oh, I'm the cool guy. Because Genos, I know Genos gets raked a lot, but when he shows up to a fight, it goes down. Like, there's never a Genos fight where like I'm like, oh, that was boring, wasn't it? There's always something entertaining about Genos fight. So, and you know, he's damn strong now too. Same with a lot of other people in the series. They have personality that stands out apart from just being, I'm strong, and that's all I got. But yeah, that's my review of the chapter in any case. Apologies for it being late. Like I said, it's probably not, it's like, yeah, you've been going for about 20 minutes. I like this chapter a lot, but I'd love to know what you think, especially about Darkshine's character. What do you think about that? What did you think about the fight? What do you think is going to happen with Goro in the future as well? Yeah, I'd love to know this kind of stuff. No spoilers for the next chapter, please. I'd really appreciate that. But thank you for waiting, and thank you for watching if you did. In any case, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.